Hi, my name is Whitney Bright, and I am the HMIS trainer at ECHO. In this training, we will be discussing the Austin-Travis County Homeless Management Information System Data Sharing Policy and Release of Information, or the ROI. This ROI is specific to our HMIS service point. This ROI is good for 7 years from the date the client signs it. There may be a chance that the client already has an ROI and therefore they don't have to fill another one out. But please always double check with the client to make sure their answer has not changed and that the current ROI uploaded is legitimate. If a client has not already completed a release of information, one needs to be completed and uploaded into HMIS. Anyone 18 years of age and older needs their own signed ROI. If there are 2 adults in the same household, both need to fill out a separate ROI. If there is anyone 17 years of age or younger in the household, their names will go under the dependent section on the head of household's ROI. If you have an existing client that you are working with, and say 3 months down the line, they have a child or a newborn entering their household, you will need to enter them into HMIS and add them to the ROI. Have the client fill out a new ROI so that the child can be added as a dependent. You'll have them sign and date the ROI on that day. Upload the newly signed and dated ROI that reflects the new household and create a new ROI record in HMIS as well. An HMIS user employed at partner agencies that are covered entities of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, have more restrictive privacy policies that they must follow and will receive guidance from their agencies. This addendum describes the information this agency collects like other agencies, which will be locked or not shared unless the client gives their consent on this document to unlock and share their information within the Austin-Travis County HMIS. Permission to share client information will last 7 years from the day they sign the ROI. They can cancel this permission at any time by sending a written letter to the agency where they filled out the ROI. It may take up to 3 business days to process the cancellation letter. The letter will be uploaded into HMIS. While paraphrasing the ROI is fine, it's always best practice to read the ROI with your client. Here's an example of an in-person explanation. The release of information states that any information that you give me today will automatically go into the database that we use called Service Point. You will never be denied services for not answering a question, unless of course we need that information for specific housing resources. For example, if you were a veteran and didn't tell us, we couldn't connect you to veteran services. Do you have any questions about that? Here's a list of agencies that also use our database. You don't have to sign anything on this page. Just look over them and let me know if you have any questions. This list is subject to change, and you are always welcome to ask for an updated copy. Where it says yes or no. If you initial next to yes, that will allow us to communicate openly with the agencies on the last page, such as emailing, calling, or faxing. Initialing no can limit that communication and make it more difficult for us to connect you to those agencies. Here's an example of an over-the-phone explanation of the ROI. The release of information states that any information that you give me today will automatically go into the database that we use called Service Point. You will never be denied services for not answering a question, unless of course we need that information for specific housing resources. For example, if you were a veteran and didn't tell us, we couldn't connect you to veteran services. Do you have any questions about that? Do you feel comfortable with us being able to communicate with other agencies that use our database in order to get you connected to services? If that client says yes, I will note that you gave me verbal consent over the phone. If you end up accessing services, they will have you sign a physical copy. So what is the difference between yes and no? Yes, only with a client-signed ROI consenting to sharing their HMIS information outside of HMIS may their information be shared outside of the HMIS system. No, only with a client-signed ROI, a client's information will be in HMIS, but you may not share their information outside of the HMIS system. So the ROI does not ask for permission to enter client data into HMIS as much as it is asking how the client wants the data to look once in HMIS. So for example, if a client does initial next to yes, and they are working with a case manager both at Front Steps and Caritas, those case managers could speak to one another about that client. If that client's initialed and selected no, those case managers would not be able to communicate about that client. As always, if you have any questions, please submit an HMIS help desk ticket through the ECHO website. Thank you.